Welcome to another monthly recap of what I watched in September. So basically, I talk about what kind of movies I watched in September, and I could recommend these movies to you. But let's just get started into what I watched in the month of September. First, what I watched is The Incredibles 2. I think it's a fine movie. There's nothing interesting about this movie. The family isn't that interesting or important anymore. Everything in this movie feels like a sitcom. It tries to be something funny and entertaining but comes off very joyless, and I just wanted the movie to end already. This movie feels like the very opposite of the first movie, where everything is filled with a lot of family action to having lots of meaningless, uninteresting stuff added to it. The villain in this movie is alright. She works along with her brother to make superheroes legal again, but wants to make them illegal by putting these glasses on them that makes them illegal. I mean, I feel like there's no reason for this movie to exist because everything is so uninteresting. The plot, the family, the villain are so boring. My only compliments and good things I have for this movie is the animation. I think it looks better than the first movie. And I do like the superheroes in this movie, and their powers and their abilities were pretty great. So I don't think this movie is really that interesting. I think it's pretty much not an interesting movie. Don't think I could recommend it. I mean, if you want to watch it, go ahead, but I honestly don't recommend it. I'm giving it like a 4 out of 10. Next, what I watch is Balto, and I think this is a great movie. The animation is very amazing. The snowing animation is great. All the characters and dogs' facial expressions were very well animated. The bear scene fight is well animated. Everything and every frame in this movie is great, and a lot of work and effort was really put into it. Balto is a fantastic character. This wolf went out of his way to rescue this lost dog team to get the antidote to cure the town of this virus that might kill them, because the leader of the team got lost, who apparently is the villain of this movie. Balto wanted to help, not just because he wants to be known as a popular sled dog or to earn love and interest of any other dog in town or attention. He wanted to do it to save the life of a little girl who is the owner of this dog named Jenna. The relationship between Balto and Jenna is great. It doesn't feel forced. They both bond very well together to build up their love relationship. The villain was very excellent as well. He really hates Balto and won't let him save the team or help them. He wants to get the antidote to just boost up his self-ego. So yeah, I think Balto is a pretty great movie. I would recommend it, and I'm giving it like an 8 out of 10. Next, I watched this Aquaman. I think Aquaman is a pretty decent movie so far. I want to see this movie pretty much of the underwater scenes and visuals. Overall, the underwater scenes and visuals effects are pretty well made. The story in here is not that much. There's really nothing else to say about the story. I really like the water powered techniques that Aquaman does. In here they looked amazing. Aquaman is a pretty simple, solid hero. He could pretty much do them underwater than doing anything on the surface. The villain in here, who is Patrick Wilson plays, is pretty fine. The villain Manta isn't that interesting. His whole mission is to kill Aquaman, and he pretty much doesn't do it in this movie. But he will in the second movie because it ends on a cliffhanger, setting for a second movie which will happen. The directing in here is very well. James Wan really did a good job. My only problem with the movie is the time length. It's 2 hours and 23 minutes. I always have problem with superhero movies being so long. I stood up till 2 in the morning to finish this movie, but I think it's a decent well-made movie with some well acting and visual effects, and I'm giving it an 8.5 out of 10. Next I watch is Nerve. I think I like this movie. I honestly think it's a pretty solid movie. The characters we follow, watch them do these dares that's on an app called Nerve. You can also get paid and more views as you complete these dares. It's basically like TikTok and how social media works these days. We spend all time with Ian and V. Their relationship isn't bad or annoying. They bond very well and aren't forced or feel made up. V's friends are the most annoying characters. Her friend Sydney is the most annoying character who cares about herself and cares about getting drunk, getting the guys, and getting more views than V. Towards the end, there's the redemption for her where she isn't annoying. She starts to care more about V other than herself. There is so much of the teenager drama that's played in this movie, and it is very annoying. It is a very teeny movie about teenagers wanting to get fame and wanting to get paid as they do these dares. I love what this movie is and what it's about. It shows what people are willing to do to get views and money. Very much shows how our modern world is when it comes to getting internet attention. So yeah, I enjoyed Nerve. I think it was a decent film. I would recommend it, and I'm giving it an 8 out of 10. Next, what I watch is the Lego Movie. I think it's a very decent, good movie. The world building of Legos and the Lego people are so well. So is the animation. They pretty much nailed it with all the Lego faces and the animation. It doesn't feel like a cheap Lego stop motion movie or anything. That I had to wonder how they even made this movie because it looks and feels amazing. The Lego and destruction movements are flawless. There are some funny moments in this movie that I did laugh at or giggle to. The villain is pretty menacing villain, but they also make him a fun villain in this movie, and he also makes this movie a little bit more serious. Also, nice voice acting. This movie is amazing. Everything about it is amazing. The world building, the whole entire movie is awesome. Everything is awesome. So, I love this movie. I'm giving it a 10 out of 10. Next, I watch is Birds of Prey. This movie is pretty bad. Harley Quinn is my favorite character in the DC. When I saw this movie, I was kind of disappointed with the way it turned out to be. The story in here is alright. The villain, Black Mask, which I'll talk about, goes after Harley Quinn and her other team called Birds of Prey to go after this diamond the girl ate and swallowed. The directing and settings look good. However, some of the action and fight scenes in here look like no one is trying other than Harley and the other team. They just make the other people bad at fighting besides Harley and her other team. The other men look like they were not trying. They were just kicked and beaten up and being thrown back and didn't felt any violent. I mean, can we see the other men feel threatening and do some damage to Harley and her other team? Black Mask is a pretty annoying villain, but he does make some threats and acts very menacing. Black Canary isn't great. The little girl is not great either. Neither is the cop character, except Huntress, who I think is also great. So yeah, nothing great about this movie. There's nothing to worry about. It's only a strong woman kind of film. Whatever. I don't like this film. This movie is very awful. I'm giving it like a 4 out of 10. Then I watched The Nun 2. I already made a video about this. You could go check it out. I don't think it was a bad or a good movie in my opinion. I just think it was a decent, okay horror movie in the Conjuring universe. It is better than the first Nun movie. I will say that. The scares, some of them worked, some of them didn't. The first and last part of the movie I think was great. The horror visuals looked fine. The whole entire plot does lack a little at the point where the demon does a horrifying killing in the movie, but never does it again and plays it as a save throughout the whole movie. So yeah, there's a lot of going in this movie, but I don't feel like it was ever executed very well. So I don't think this movie is interesting, but I mean, it's fine, it's okay. I think I'm gonna give it like a 5 out of 10. Alright, next I watch is Mad Max Fury Road. So I don't think this movie is good or bad, but it is okay. It's basically a racing game that takes place in the desert. Really good setting, by the way. The action in here is pretty great as well. I love all these cool designed vehicles. The makeup looks great in here as well. The setting in here looks pretty good. The background and the visual looks so great. And it was a very well directed and performed movie. The plot of the movie is not great or anything, but didn't ruin the whole movie experience for me. It was just a fun movie with lots of really cool action scenes, visuals, backgrounds and settings and more. So I think I could recommend this to you. I'm giving it like a 7 out of 10. Then I watched John Wick. I think it's a great movie. I'm new to the John Wick movies, so this is my first time watching them. The storyline is something I've seen before. Some bad people kill the loved one and they seek out to the bad people to kill them. It's pretty much like Kill Bill, where they kill her on her wedding and she seeks out revenge to the people that killed her and the people on her wedding. In John Wick, some bad people kill his wife and he goes after the people to kill them. So yeah, it's pretty much a film like that. But I think overall it's a pretty good movie. The action is very well done. The acting is decent. The bad guys are pretty menacing people. So yeah, nothing negative about this movie. It is great from start to finish, and I'm giving this an 8 out of 10. Alright, next I watch is No One Will Save You. This is a pretty okay movie. There's a lot that's positive and there's some that's negative. I discovered this on Hulu. It's about this girl who lives on her own. At night she gets invaded by aliens. This is an alien invasion type of movie. I'm honestly kind of uninterested in home invasion movies. The alien design in this movie are the same thing as the other alien movies. It looks like the alien emoji. But I think they do a lot of cool things, such as telekinesis. They throw a door at the main character and throw a lot of things around. The aliens invade a small town of people successfully. The visual effects in here look absolutely great. I also like the score that they play like in the 20 or 30 minutes at the end of the movie. The score where they take her up to the spaceship and they send her back down. So there's a score that plays in the middle of that scene that honestly was a very good score. I don't like that there isn't that much dialogue in this movie. If you watch this movie, then there really isn't that any dialogue. I don't know if it was a budget issue or something. The ending was really bad. It was a really bad way to end the movie that doesn't make this movie scary anymore. The movie is a pretty good sci-fi home invasion, but has some flaws. I'm giving it a 7 out of 10. Alright, then I watched Pokemon Detective Pikachu. It was my first time watching this movie. Not really a big Pokemon fan or anything. The movie overall isn't good, but also wasn't bad. The movie is about Tim and his Pikachu sidekick trying to find out what happened to Detective Harry. I did see who the real villain in this movie was gonna be. I did saw it from the beginning. I mean, before they were introducing him, I just knew who the real villain was gonna be. His plan was to turn everyone in the city into their own Pokemon characters, and he also wasn't good or intelligent either because he was managed to get distracted by Pikachu as Tim destroys his plan and the whole thing of turning everyone into their Pokemon side characters isn't that evil. It pretty much seems a hilarious thing to do. Is it a bad movie if you laugh at a successful evil plan in a movie like this? I don't know. I don't know because it's a PG movie and I don't know if we should take it seriously. Movie CGI visual effects I think look great, but overall, I don't think it was a good movie, nor it wasn't bad, but it was pretty much uninteresting, kind of in the middle, like okay movie. So I'm giving this a 5 out of 10. Next, I watched this Kick-Ass. I think Kick-Ass is an amazing anti-hero movie. This movie reminds me a lot of The Boys without powers and just their human traits. Their fighting and combat skills were pretty epic and they showed that you don't need powers to fight and it just looks better without having superpowers because there's much excitement when we see a fighting scene. The actors did such an amazing job in this film. Nicolas Cage, Chloe Grace Moretz, Aaron Taylor Johnson were great performances. Christopher Mintz was well, and he also delivers a great hilarious performance that makes this movie funny, and I love that. Aaron Taylor's character is impressive. He starts off wanting to be a superhero and later in the movie he goes out looking for criminals to fight and actually gets into bloody and violent fights. And at the end he gets into a lot of action, shooting, blasting the antagonist with the bazooka. It was a pretty epic film and the best thing I watched this month. I will give the second movie a watch soon. So yeah, Kick-Ass is an amazing movie. I would highly recommend it to you and you should give this a watch if you're interested. If you're in the mood for a bloody, violent superhero with no powers movie, this movie is amazing. And I'm giving it a 10 out of 10. Alright, and finally I watched Masterminds. Masterminds I guess is a pretty good movie to watch if you're looking for a comedy to watch. This movie is in fact a good comedy and a crime because it's also a guy named David who is played by Satch Galifianakis is supposed to rob a bank for a criminal named Steve who is played by Owen Wilson, and he goes to Mexico to hide himself from the police and ends up being wanted in Mexico as this hitman who is played by Jason Sudeikis tries to kill him but fails every moment, and it's very funny honestly. The casting is honestly good. I ended up enjoying almost everybody. They all did a pretty good job with their performance and making me laugh. A lot of the humor in here landed well. This movie is a fun ride. It is pretty funny. It will make you laugh. It is honestly my favorite comedy movie. So yeah, watch this movie. Watch Masterminds. If you're in the mood for a movie to make you laugh, I would recommend this movie. You will have a fun time watching it. And I'm giving it a 7 out of 10. Alright, that's it for what I watched in the month of September. Let me know what you guys think of these movies. If you watched them before, like, subscribe, and I'll talk to you all later. Bye.